This is Winging It, the somewhat whimsical, certainly whirring, decidedly wonky, seldom weighty, endlessly well-intentioned, and wildly witty show about music where one knows what's coming and the other doesn't. It happens in between both proper to ensure you can spend a lot of fucking time with us. I'm not going to give you specifics.
Yeah, let's cut right to it, yeah.
It's quite a bit. And today's kind of an interesting topic. I figured, instead of just talking about mindless things, I'm actually going to school us on some things. And these are things that I actually don't know either.
Can I cast a vote for mindless things? No, okay, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Sorry, too bad. So, this is provided to us by listverse.com, and it is the top 10 bizarre musical genres that you need in your life.
Yes, of the 450,000 subgenres and all this crap. I can't wait to hear.
Yes, so these are the questions they're asking, and I will also ask them. Are you bored of hearing the same semi-whispered, vaguely English-sounding female singer that pronounces every S as zush? Interested in expanding your musical horizons so far that you may just find yourself in another universe? Well, check out these fringe musical genres that shed the notion that current and new means good. You may just find that your newest old jam, maybe not, that this is not a suggestion that you eat 12-year-old jam, of course, right? You're going to find your newest old jam, but don't eat old jam, or we can't be held responsible if you're eating old jam. That's what they're saying. So, are you ready? So there is one called Bardcore, and it's medieval style.
I was going to say, as in Bard of Avon, as in like Shakespearean rock. I'm down with that, big time.
So taking existing songs and reimagining them with a different, often older genre has been a, view generator online for a while now. And this is the postmodern jukebox, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this trend is normally limited to taking contemporary songs and making them seem like songs of bygone 20th century style. So what if we go back further, much further? So let's take a listen to a little sample of Bardcore. I can't actually play it on the show because we don't have the rights, but we're going to come back and talk about it. So hold the phone. So we took a moment to listen to an example of Bardcore, and basically it was Bardcore of Jolene. And I think it was pretty amazing because not only does it sound medieval and Shakespearean, right, but they're also using the terminology. So they actually changed the lyrics so that they are, kind of medieval. It's kind of amazing. I actually like it. Unfortunately, it's a little funny to me, too, but I think it's pretty amazing. What were your thoughts? Well,
it's true. Dolly Parton never said thee or thy or
she
thou.
She did not.
But they did such a good job with it, honestly. You can almost flip it in your head if you've got that kind of mind, where Dolly Parton did a modern version of a traditional old song, I mean, it actually could be, It's pretty credible what they did. I like it. I do like Celtic, medieval, you could just picture...
Bardcore is what you like.
Yeah, I like Bardcore. You could picture these guys, pulling in on a wagon and asking the king if they can set up and do their show and everything. It's just like one of those minstrel things. Beautiful work, and I am a sucker for that kind of that period, so I dig it personally.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about chill hop. What is chill hop? So this genre is great when you want to relax and fall asleep. It's also great when you want to sit down and study. It's also great to wake up to instead of a shrill, jangling alarm clock. This genre is so chill, so laid back, it's hard not to like. One cannot imagine a person who really hates hard-on chill hop unless you don't understand the definition of art and are not generated by any given individual. So anyway, let's take a listen to what they consider to be chill hop.
Yeah, I want to hear an example of this.
All right, so chill hop is basically monotonous, repetitive music or like some sort of instrumentation with a kind of little beat.
Yeah, I'm somewhat, little did you know, I'm somewhat of a connoisseur of sleep ambient noise shows. I listen to something.
I knew that.
Because I talk to you every day.
Yeah. Right. So
they don't know, actually.
No.
I every night or day when I go to sleep, because it could be either, I play something, and I listen to ambient music. I listen to boring talk, this and that. So I heard them describe that this way. Maybe it might work for that, but for waking up, for studying, for all those things they talked about, I can definitely see the benefit. And I was a little bit biased against it when the word hop was included, because I thought it was going to be phony plastic beat shit, like hip hop.
Yeah, see, you got to quiet that bias.
Because hop, I heard hop. I listened to it.
It was chill hop, though.
Yeah, it was chill hop, though.
It worked out.
The chill word, they won me with the chill word. And honestly, the beat is not bad at all. It actually even might be conducive to
I think it could
sleep
be.
rest, but work, waking up or sleeping, it might be that one size fits all kind of thing, strangely enough.
I think you can make it work for all occasions. So chill hop, never heard of it. So let's move on to Japanoise.
Japanoise. Good name.
So it says, let's cut out all of this blissed out ceiling gazing, shall we? Let's get some blood pumping. Japan has a solid pedigree when it comes to extreme avant-garde metal. This is most evident in the amorphous, ever-evolving genre of Japanoise. So, noise music is hard to get into. Most people do not have a proclivity for enjoying extreme musical genres. Well, let's check out some Japanoise and see if we like it. All right, so Japanoise, that was Melt Banana we listened to, by the way. We listened to Candy Gun, and I'm actually kind of into Japanoise. I will tell you, I kind of dig that. I might have to kind of explore this a little bit more, but it was kind of like a chill metal sort of little kind of groovy, funky kind of situation, and I was super in. Yeah,
I was expecting extreme like metal, like that shit that isn't even metal, that just rah, 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 but it is groovy, like you said. It is like mildly industrially metal. It's like straight out of a Mad Max movie soundtrack. I mean, it's agreeable, very agreeable. I can see listening to that and having that on.
I can think. Yeah. I would think. Not I can think. I can also think. But I would think that you could actually fall asleep to that too, because it's kind of like a low rumble,
it's like a tractor beam, Yeah. I mean, if you can fall asleep, cool. How many times do we all fall asleep to shows when a hell of a lot, television shows, when a hell of a lot more is happening than that?
Right.
So that is perfectly reasonable to fall asleep to.
I like Japanoise.
Actually, I never heard of it, but damn, it's good.
Me neither. I like it.
Hopefully that will turn up on a search if you put that in.
Japanoise, yeah. Well, the band that I mentioned that we played was Melt Banana. So if you want to...
I'm sorry, to clarify, Melt Banana?
Melt Banana with Candy Gun. That's what we listened to. So if you want to kind of get an idea of what Japanoise is, you can listen. So the next one is Gypsy Punk. When you listen to Django Reinhardt's recordings, I don't know who that is, it feels revolutionary for the time. It sounds explosive when you consider that his music was published around the same time as Cole Porter and Bing Crosby were topping the charts stateside. The stripped-back, free, joyful sounds that Reinhardt gave the world, drawing on traditional Romani music, is still getting banged out and getting people moving in the form of gypsy punk. So, influences for gypsy punk, apparently polka, klezmer, rockabilly, English folk, that kind of thing, and world music. It's the world music of punk is what they're saying.
Nice.
So let's take a listen.
I'm enthused about that description, I got to tell you.
Fantastic. All right, so gypsy punk. I'm not sure this is my favorite. I think it's okay. I give it like a 3 out of 10, but I was not as wowed by it as I have been about the other bizarre musical genres. I definitely got the punk, and I got the polka and the klezmer. I definitely did that. I don't know. Not my jam.
Yeah, it's like, it is sort of like a Eastern European mountain, I mean, you could almost picture the angry mob with the torches going up to Frankenstein's place, and these guys, this is what they'd be playing. I mean, if it happened today. It is very Romani, like Django Reinhardt. It has the gypsy feel to it for sure, but it's also kind of like rockabilly, as I said. And
see, I like rockabilly. I don't like the mishmash of all this together.
I like the overall style, not the example we heard that much.
Yeah, I don't like.
But I think the idea is very promising. That wasn't a great example, but it is a promising idea.
It was it was Go-Go Bordello is who we just heard, and I was like, but all right, interesting. What about traditional Georgian folk? What about that? The history of polyphonic folk singing in Georgia dates back to antiquity, predating Christianity coming to Georgia in the 4th century. Back in 2001, Georgian polyphonic music was listed as one of the first entrances to UNESCO's list of masterpieces of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. Wow, that's quite
a mouthful,
that's quite a bit, right? That's a lot. So both Werner Herzog and the Coen brothers have made use of their genre in their films. I was going to say that. In their movies, offsetting their counterculture films with songs that not only sound as though they're from a time before we knew what time was, but also sound as though they come down from heaven itself. Well, we'll be the judge of that. So let's take a quick listen to traditional Georgian folk. All right, so we had to go on a hunt. So we listened to Georgian folk music and Georgian polyphonic as well. So we had to go on a little hunt, but we did. So what are your thoughts?
Well, the polyphonic was great. It was, not, you wouldn't want to call them chants exactly, but it is.
It's like secular music, though. It is.
Well, it's secular music, but it sounds like choral music, sacred music.
Churchy.
It sounds like sacred music.
Yeah,
it sounds like
churchy. I like it.
Pre-Bach, I mean, before all those sacred works and everything, but it definitely sounds like it goes back centuries, and I think it's I can see there are a lot of times when it would be good to have that playing when you're working, studying, sleeping, anything like that. It's good for that. I think it's probably good stimuli, so it was nice.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I could listen to it while I was studying, while I was thinking, while I was trying to sleep. It needed to calm down. I had a rough day. Absolutely. While studying, while working, 100%. As long as I don't know what the lyrics are, because then I will sing along, and that's not good. So, yeah, absolutely.
There's little chance of that.
Yes, absolutely. So, as for the other side, the flip side of it, I really wasn't in for just the traditional Georgian folk. I couldn't get my arms around it.
Well, it reminded me a little bit of, it was sort of like a Russian Peter, Paul, and Mary. And I do like Peter, Paul, and Mary, but
I like them too, but I didn't like the Russian version then.
Well, yeah, it didn't have the same types of melodies and songs and everything. Yeah. It was I don't know. And they're probably not all like that too, but it was a little too animated. I did enjoy it, but I would want a change of pace from it, and I'm sure you get that too. But it didn't have the immediate hook of like a Peter, Paul, and Mary type structure. But it was good folk, and I probably liked it more than you did, I think. Yeah,
I was at like a 2. So, yeah.
No, I'd give it way higher than that.
So, the next type is Witch House. This is what Blade sticks on after a long day of pumping vampires full of silver. This is the music the CIA should blast at buildings housing key targets they wish to flush out. Good goat-headed God, this music is disconcerting, and yet the unholy marriage of EBM, electric body music, trance, and industrial metal is haunting in every sense of the word.
Electric body music? That in itself is a new one on me.
Yes. Well, let's listen to Witch House and see if we like it. All right. So, Witch House. So we just listened to Salem Night Night, and I can't do this. It feels like noise, and not the good kind of noise, not the I can study with it noise, or I can listen to it, or it'd be enjoyable at all. It was a lot. And I'm out.
Yeah, noise from the abyss. I mean, it was just like, I mean, if you want to summon demons and you can't afford a Ouija board, I mean, it really was not agreeable in any way. It was just like, it seemed like I could imagine going completely mad after listening to this for like a week, I mean, it seems contrary to every normal function of the body and the brain and everything. It just totally lost. No good.
Well, Listverse said this at the end, and I agree. It says, great as a soundtrack for your next community sacrifice, goat or baby. And I agree.
It's exactly, yeah.
Perfect for that. And since I don't have any of that, I'm going to be out. So this next one is Zool. Zool. Lots of people hate prog rock. Not us. People who love prog often claim that any hate leveled at bands like ELP or Yes must be coming from a position of ignorance. You just don't get it, loser. This elitism and unapologetic embrace of intellectualism can be off-putting to the uninitiated, much as the bar-wrecking, foul-mouthed, saliva-drenched crowds of weird-looking teens were a barrier for many with regard to punk. The barrier to entry into Zool subgenre of prog, is that what it is? Well, avant-garde music and writer Dominique Leone summed it up quite well. Zool is about what you'd expect an alien rock opera to sound like. You're human. How could you possibly get it? Well, let's find out if we get it. All right, so Zool. I'm just going to tell you right off the top, I like it. It's weird, but I'm in.
Yeah, I dug it too right from the start. I thought, oh, this is really, promising. Well, Zool, I had to ask her how it was spelled. I thought it was a reference to like the god from Ghostbusters, but no. Zool,
no, it actually means celestial in a language invented. It's basically an alien tongue that was created by Christian Vander, a drummer with the band Magma.
Nice.
So
let's create a language. You can make a word up for anything.
Let's do it. Zool.
Zool. But I liked this. For a while, it was like, okay, they got to switch up. They got to do something here because they were playing this nice prog intro, this one of those weird little Emerson, Lake and Palmer type interludes. Only it wasn't going anywhere, but then it did. It got real. It got really heavy, and you can kind of see, influence. It was like the real dirty guitar and super grungy fluid bass like Chris Squire. And it was darker, and it was definitely not the chirpy John Anderson thing.
Yeah.
But it was. I was digging the shit out of it, honestly. If that's the kind of thing, as long as I thought it might be too indulgent, but it wasn't. What I heard, I thought it was good stuff. So Zool is quite promising.
I like it. I think it's interesting, and it's different, but it also encapsulates some of the genres I like and some of the things I like about prog and things, and then also that little experimental stuff. Now, too much of that could annoy me. I'm not going to lie to you. If it's too much of that weird, like, bing, bong, I'm out.
Then you end up with basically Frank Zappa,
Yeah, that's right. Mothers of Invention has already been done. Yeah. So, all right, this next one is Italian occult psychedelia.
Oh, ho, ho.
Horror is a genre that works well in literature. Horror works arguably better in film if we consider that the goal of the horror genre is to scare. The visual nature of film allows for the fear to get into the bloodstream quicker, or so to speak. It tends to suck in music. When a band dons the horror motif, it is usually cheesy, overused fake blood, crappy costumes, and groan-worthy band names, totes. Or overly reliant on a sense fandomish homage. It is not scary. So Italian occult psychedelia seems to have solved that problem. The music can be unnerving, even frightening, whilst avoiding a loss in the translation from the literary and the filmic tropes that inform the music, especially the work of legendary Italian film director Dario Argento, Federico Fellini, and Pier Paolo Pasolini, along with the banned cannibal movies of the 70s, 80s, and even spaghetti westerns.
There you go.
So let's take a listen to this, and then I'll let you muse on about it. All right, so I don't hate it. I'm hoping it's not all that monotonous, but maybe it's supposed to be, because if it's supposed to accompany a film. But this wasn't particularly scary. There was just an element of it that was unnerving, but it wasn't scary. I was hoping to hear scary. I was waiting for scary, but I did not get it. So, this genre I think I'd be into.
Yeah, I think the repetitive keynote that it was the unnerving part for you. I thought it was actually kind of apart from that, as standalone music, it was pretty tranquilizing. It was kind of almost calming, but of course we're not looking at a creepy visual, which we would be maybe if this were accompanying a film. They mentioned. I
still don't think it would be that scary, even if there was horrible corn syrup all over. I'd be like, just that bong.
But corn
weird.
Syrup and maggots,
I mean, I don't. Maybe the marriage would have done it. Yeah.
There, in the beginning, it had a music box thing going,
the music box will always creep me out.
Yeah, that was very reminiscent of, of course, you mentioned Argento, the classic Suspiria.
Right, they're all going to do that.
Claudio Simonetti's Goblin.
They're all going to do that, I think.
Yeah, there's a band that I know that I've seen a couple times who does that kind of thing, but I don't think they qualify in this way because their stuff is much more rocking. This is more Italian horror psychedelic. I liked it okay, but I'd need to hear more to see. It could get monotonous, but I don't think it would. But.
All right. Well, what about Time Lord rock?
Time Lord rock. Well, they're really reaching here.
When Led Zeppelin took great inspiration from the work of J.R.R. Tolkien, they opened up Middle-earth for hordes of rock music lovers as a great accompaniment for their music, along with cannabis and not cutting your hair. Will bands like Chameleon Circus do the same for Doctor Who? Definitely not. But as far as IP fan-driven music goes, Time Lord rock isn't half bad. Why does it hurt to write that? I love it. The best way to enjoy this is try to forget Doctor Who exists. Unless you're a fan, then you'll be in heaven. I'm not a Doctor Who fan. It beats most other types of fandom pop into a cocked hat. These bands are pretty good. So interesting. So I guess let's listen to Time Lord Rock. It doesn't sound like something I'll like, but maybe I'll be proven wrong. Well, all right. So that was Time Lord Rock, and I'm thinking it's time for that Lord to retire, because I did not like that.
Yeah, it was... honestly, I was listening to it, it was like, okay, this sounds like Doctor Who the musical. I mean, if this were in a stage, basically what we're being given is exposition, what they call in the movies exposition, musical exposition, and that's what it worked as. I mean, if you were watching a stage play, as long as
I would have walked out if that kept happening.
As long as the number wasn't too long. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't want to hear that all through the whole show.
What did we listen to it for, like 40 seconds, and I was out. I don't know. Can you listen to it longer?
There would have to be a lot of zigs and zags, and that would have to be just a small portion of it. I mean, there are a couple little snippets on Tommy that wouldn't read very well as a standalone either. So I don't know based on that. Not terribly promising, but you never know.
You never know. But apparently Doctor Who fans will love it. So great, Doctor Who fans, eat it up. So the last bizarre musical genre is dark cabaret, which I don't know what this is, but it has my name written all over it, I believe. So this is maybe the most commercial of all the genres on this list, maybe. Having made a splash in 1998's hit musical Shock-Headed Peter by the group Tiger Lilies, who sing about crucifying Jesus, edgy, or the popularity of bands like the Dresden Dolls. Oh, I like Dresden Dolls. Still, one cannot imagine this type of music occupying spots 10 to 1 in the Billboard chart, unless, of course, we're going through some sort of Armageddon, allowing for the new dark troubadours to wander the wasteland and delight us with accordion-driven songs about man's follies. So, promising. Let's take a peek.
Wow.
Well, a listen. All right, so that was Dark Cabaret. Where'd you land on that one?
Well, again, in context, it could be. I mean, this is again, this is a musical. This is that kind of thing. It's like Doctor Who, only this is something else. And in that way, it worked. I could hear. I mean, the voice first was like, "Holy shit!" That squeak, that high pitched voice. Yeah. But you could hear him, and or whatever it was. And again, as exposition, I thought it was pretty cool. Depending on how many turns the music took from there, it could be a part of a very, very good composite. I mean, if you took, one song out of context of the movie Cabaret, for example, you wouldn't necessarily think a whole genre. But if you look at the whole soundtrack, I had no problem with this, really. Oh, see, yeah, no. If you took anything, I love the movie Cabaret. I mean, the movie's kind of weird, but I love the music in Cabaret. Yeah. And I mean, I sing individual songs out of that. They stand alone. This does not stand alone. This is not that kind of thing. And I could not handle that for a long time. There's no way in fuck. I'm talking about musicals where people can actually sing. Yeah. If that's what Dark Cabaret is, I can't handle it. If it's going to be this over the top extreme, heavily stylized, super shrill thing, I can't. I could do it for a song. Yeah, and I think they wouldn't dare. Nobody in their right mind would have that as, the tone of the whole thing. I don't know. I can picture different characters with different voices and all kinds of... I like the idea of Dark Cabaret. I knew a group like that. Tilly Riddle was in a band like that when she was in her 20s, and that's the term I used to describe them by. And they sounded like that? No, they didn't sound like that, but they sounded like Dark Cabaret. Which is what they're saying that is, so I'm confused by that. Yeah, but nobody's saying, well, yeah, a little bit like that occasionally. Yeah, it's no bueno for me. I'm on board with that so far. Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, so that was the last one, and sadly, I was super excited about that one, but I'm not a fan. If you're going to show me an example of it, it better be better than that horrible shrill voice thing. So, oh well. But that takes us through now the top 10 bizarre musical genres that
apparently...
None of which I'd heard of. Had you?
No, listverse.com believes we should know. And I do feel a little enlightened, though slightly disappointed to some degree, but then also interested to know more. I thought this was going to be more like, post-rock and all. It's not. It's definitely bizarre musical genres, and I'm kind of down for it. I'm kind of here for it.
It's fun sometimes when you're looking, at any streaming service, you're looking and they give you the list of possible genres. There are like 600 of them. It's hilarious. And I'd never heard of any of these tonight.
Yeah.
So, and I liked most of them, actually. At least I was not immediately put off by them. I could see where there's hope for the whole sphere, So anyway, that's me. And I'm a grumpy old bastard, but so far the stuff we heard tonight was doable.
You like some really left of center shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I like left of center, but not. I'm very picky what goes in that, and I think you're more forgiving.
That's true.
I am
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
I am not. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And you're like, I love it. I'm like, I don't understand.
I'm going to keep listening and find out.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck that. I'm out. That sucks dick. And so anyway, funny, but that's kind of how we are. So we both like weird stuff, but I don't know. The only way I can describe what I like is I like weird smart, not just weird to be weird. Or I don't like when people call themselves weird because they don't have a lot of talent.
Yeah. I mean, that, for example, that Dark Cabaret was as far from Frank Zappa as you could get. You're constantly... That actually had a melody, and he was trying to convey some information instead of just...
There's a whole bunch of ways you can convey it without the... I mean, who needs that?
I think it just distinguished it from the rest of what... I'd love to hear the whatever it was part of,
Well, good. I will send you the link, and you can enjoy it. I'm out.
I'm down with that.
Cool. Well, maybe you'll report back on your newfound love for...
I mean, it could turn into Zappa,
Cabaret.
who knows, but,
Yeah. So, anyway, I thought it was interesting and definitely taught me a little bit more about my tolerance for weirdness, which I knew was up there. But again, some of it's just a little too strange. But Japanoise is my big takeaway. I'm going to go listen to more Japanoise.
That was... unqualified good, even the stuff that we heard.
Yes.
Not like, okay, I can see where that might fit into a whole big puzzle, But Japanoise, that got me right from the start.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in. Drop us a line at bofonair@gmail.com. Tell us which was your favorite of all these strange or bizarre genres. And if you have any other above and beyond this top 10 or...
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Or most bizarre, I don't know. Let us know. We'd love to hear it, and we will certainly talk about it should you send us anything. But I guess now that we're done with this winging it, that only leaves for you to say...
Let's fly this coop.
This has been Winging It, a presentation of Birds of a Feather on What the Flock Radio.